first true class, really, under new head coach Hugh Freeze, coming together quite nicely. So far, 4 commitments in the fold. 2 top 247 players, headlined by, of course, the quarterback at the top of the list there, Walker White. The Tigers currently hold the 22nd ranked class, but to put that into SEC perspective, that is good for 8th in the conference, because it just means more. Well, speaking of more, we need some more voices in this show, so let's welcome in Christian Clemente of Auburn Undercover. Christian, A-Day is coming up on Saturday, meaning top talent will be on campus, taking in all the sights and sounds. So first, what has been your early impressions of Freeze as a recruiter so far at Auburn?
Yeah, it's been an extremely aggressive recruiting style from this staff. It's been the running joke that I've kind of had is last spring my golf game got pretty good. I had a lot of spare time, but this spring it's been extremely busy. Through 13 spring practices, there's really only been one day where there's not kids on campus worth interviewing, worth talking to. They've had a 5-star on campus just about every single day. It's been, Hugh Freeze has vocally said it. He said the 24 class and the 25 class it's his future at Auburn. If they fail in those classes, he'll fail at Auburn. And he said that multiple times. And so they've been extremely aggressive. We've talked with recruits. One recruit said, that Hugh Freeze is the coach that recruits him the most. And he told him, hey, keep a notepad right by your bedside. Every time I call you, anytime a head coach calls you, put a tally mark. And I guarantee you by signing day, I'll have the most tally marks come signing day. So they've been just grinding it out. And now that kind of comes to fruition with a bunch of kids coming on campus for A-Day.
Christian, you mentioned this different spring recruiting approach, right? It's a bit more aggressive. There's more offers. There's more visitors on campus than maybe what we saw under Brian Harsin. Is this a way that Hugh Freeze is just going to recruit at Auburn, or is it more about him striking while the iron is hot, considering that he's a new hire?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Auburn has a good opportunity. They try to capture some of that momentum that Cadillac Williams built during that interim period, finished pretty strong, not kind of where Auburn wants to be every year for the 23 class there at signing day. So looking to carry that momentum a little bit. And then obviously, like I said earlier, they know they have to strike with these first 2 recruiting classes. Hugh Freeze knows Auburn is not where it needs to be. It's not where it has, over the past couple of years. They had 5 wins last year. That's not what Auburn wants to be. Emily, you said it, introing Auburn's 8th in the SEC. That's, it's a good start for this 24 class, but Auburn and Hugh Freeze, they want to be 1, they want to be 2, or they want to be 3. They don't want to be really anywhere below the 4 spot in the SEC. So they're trying to make up some ground on this 24 class right now.
One of the biggest attendees this weekend will, of course, be the 4-star quarterback commit, Walker White. He's been locked in since February. It doesn't sound like Hugh Freeze really needs any help recruiting, but how has he kind of been a factor on the trail helping build this class?
Yeah, Walker and all of Auburn's commits have been very mature since committing to Auburn, and they've been extremely vocal as recruiters. When they come back for visits, it's not about them visiting. It's not about them getting attention from the coaching staff. It's about them going to work. And Walker said that after his last visit. Earlier in March, KJ Bolden was there that day, Daniel Calhoun, the top 247 offensive tackle. There were a bunch of guys there. And Walker was like, look, I don't want any attention from this coaching staff. I'll watch practice a little bit, but I just want to go to work and start recruiting these other guys. And he's been that way on Twitter. He's been that way texting these guys. Casey Poe, the offensive lineman from Texas, he tweeted out video of his film a couple of weeks ago saying, hey, come block for me. He tweeted at him again earlier this week. He said, I'll buy a bundle of roses for your commitment ceremony if you commit to Auburn. It'll be the most dramatic commitment ceremony ever. So this group has been extremely vocal. It's good for Auburn to get all of those guys on campus this Saturday, and they'll just all be working. They're not really there to watch the game. They're there to recruit.
Walker White handing out roses, that'd be an interesting sight as well. Perry Thompson is one of the players that will be at Auburn this weekend. He's the 5-star wide receiver that's already committed to Alabama. I know our editors like to pull clips and VODs from some of these shows. So, Christian, this is your chance. What are the Tigers' chances of flipping him from the Tide?
Oh, man. Putting me on the spot a little bit. You're always skeptical when it comes to Auburn flipping an Alabama commit. You kind of just have to believe it when you see it. But this Auburn staff, led by Hugh Freeze and Marcus Davis, have put in a ton of work on Perry Thompson. He wasn't even offered by the previous staff, and I think he's the number 2 player in the class, and he's a 5-star wide receiver. He was one of this staff's first offers, and they've been putting in work on him. In January, he visits a few days after he's offered. He's already visited twice in March, and now he's expected back for an overnight visit for A-Day as well. And he's expected to spend some time with the team after the game as well. So the staff has made him a huge priority. I don't want to say Auburn's going to flip him because it's hard to ever call Auburn to flip an Alabama commit. It just doesn't happen, especially not a 5-star. But the staff has made him a huge priority. He knows that. And if you're looking at an Alabama commit, he would probably be the one that you would circle and say, this is the guy that Auburn has the best chance to flip right now.
Ooh, spicy. Got the rivalry on the field, the rivalry in the trail. We love to see it. We love to see also, too, a pair of top 15 players scheduled to attend this weekend, both on the defensive side of the ball. First, you got 5-star KJ Bolden, the number 1 safety in the class. So how has Auburn been able to become a contender in his recruitment?
Yeah, exactly, Emily. They've been kind of weaseling their way in a little bit. Zach Etheridge he's been pretty consistently, even over the past couple of years, Auburn's best recruiter. And now with Hugh Freeze helping him out, it's given Auburn a chance. Even dating back to last year, there were kind of rumblings about KJ Bolden asking about Auburn, having some interest in Auburn, but Auburn just not really recruiting him besides Zach Etheridge, a phone call kind of here and there. But now he visits earlier in March. That was an overnight visit. He's supposed to be back for A-Day, and it'll be another overnight visit. After his first visit in March, he said, look, Auburn has a chance. They definitely have a chance now. And he's expected to release his official visits here at the end of April. And it seems like Auburn has positioned itself to land an official visit. And, from there, you're in pretty much his unofficial top 5, and you're in the ball game. So getting him back for A-Day is definitely huge.
Right behind KJ Bolden in the rankings is Jordan Ross. He's the number 1 edge and number 1 player in the state of Alabama for this 2024 class. What's the vibe right now, Christian, on Jordan Ross and Auburn's chances with that dynamic playmaker?
Yeah, I think Auburn likes where it stands right now with Jordan Ross. And I think Jordan Ross likes Auburn quite a bit. He told us, we went to go and see him play basketball earlier this year, freak athlete. And he told us, look, I grew up an Auburn fan. I love Auburn. That's not going to impact my recruitment necessarily, but he definitely has a soft spot in his heart for Auburn. And he visited earlier this spring, and now he'll be back as a freshly minted 5-star. And Auburn feels pretty good. Obviously, it'll be a battle. Alabama's in there, Georgia's in there, Tennessee is in there as well. But Auburn feels pretty good about where it stands right now. That edge position is a premium position, especially for Auburn in this class. It really needs some help at that spot. And Jordan Ross is at the top of the board.
Christian, I'm sorry your golf game is suffering, but does sound like a lot of excitement happening at Auburn right now. Thank you for breaking it all down for us. And if you want to see more of his work, you go to Auburn Undercover, and that is where you will find all things on Tigers football and, of course, recruiting.